Daniel Robinson was last seen 50 miles southwest of Phoenix on June 23rd. He is a geologist and was testing groundwater at a well site in a remote part of the desert when he went missing. About a month later in July, a rancher found his vehicle, which had his phone, keys, and wallet inside, in a ravine a few miles away from his job site. Since then, there's been no sign of Daniel. So where is he? What is up, everyone? Welcome back to GrayDays TV, and today I'm going to talk about the disappearance of Daniel Robinson. Daniel Robinson, a 24-year-old geologist living in Arizona, was last seen on June 23rd, leaving his job site in Buckeye, Arizona. When Daniel arrived at work at 9 a.m. on June 23rd, he met with Kenneth, a co-worker, who told Buckeye police that he was acting strange. According to the police report, Daniel was saying things that didn't make sense. And after about 15 minutes of this, he waved goodbye and abruptly left the work site where the two were located. Kenneth later contacted Steve, the project manager, who told him that no one from the company had heard from or seen Daniel throughout the day. Around 3 p.m., Kenneth was made aware that Daniel had not yet been located and that he wasn't answering text or phone calls from work or family members. And at that point, Ken started looking for Daniel Robinson in the desert that was around the work site. He began following tire tracks that he thought belonged to Daniel that were near the work site, and he noticed that they went further into the desert. And David Robinson, Daniel's father, said that he filed a police report later that night. According to the police report, a responding officer called Daniel's phone several times, then went to the area where he was last seen and looked around for him, but that responding officer did not find Daniel or his vehicle at that time. Concerned by the lack of answers from authorities, David Robinson drove more than 2,000 miles from his home in Columbia, South Carolina, to Arizona to search for his son. On June 24th, the Buckeye Police Department instructed Daniel Robinson's father to check his son's social media pages for clues or just for anything that could help them in the case. And that is when David Robinson, Daniel's father, noticed that all of the pictures from his son's Instagram account had been deleted since his disappearance, which is very strange. According to the police report, many of Daniel Robinson's friends and family members reported odd behavior from him leading up to his disappearance. Most commonly, he was described as being off. Before his disappearance, he also texted his sister saying that he had an emergency, but then went on to not answer any of her phone calls to try and figure out what was going on. Daniel's sister also stated that in one instance he went over to her house, sat in silence for about 30 minutes, and then left without saying anything. Daniel's father also told police that in the weeks leading up to his disappearance, he told his father that he met a woman and that he was in love with her. But Daniel's father found that strange because Daniel couldn't tell him anything about the woman that he was in love with. A co-worker also told police that Daniel had mentioned something about a girl, specifically about wanting a woman he liked but couldn't have, but overall wasn't making sense when he was talking about her. And according to a police report, Daniel did make contact with a woman before his disappearance. They found the woman, and when they questioned her, she said that she met Daniel when he delivered her groceries through Instacart, and he seemed like a nice person, so she invited him in her house and they had a conversation. She also mentioned that they exchanged phone numbers and that Daniel showed up to her house a few times unannounced. According to that police report, he told her that he loved her, but she then asked him to stop contacting her, which by her accounts, he did stop contacting her after that. On July 6th, almost 2 weeks after Daniel Robinson went missing, the police department searched his home and found no indication that he had packed or planned for a trip of any kind. Meanwhile, Daniel's father gathered a group of hundreds of local volunteers to lead a search party in the desert. Nearly 1 month after Daniel Robinson's disappearance, a break in the case occurred when a local rancher found his Jeep in a remote part of the desert in a 20-foot ravine, about 4 miles southwest of his work site. According to authorities, the vehicle was found rolled over on its side with the airbags deployed, but Daniel Robinson's body was not found in the area. Daniel Robinson's cell phone, wallet, keys, and clothes were all found at the scene with the car. Police suspect that there was no foul play involved, but Daniel Robinson's family thinks otherwise. Daniel Robinson's father, David, said that the Buckeye police told him that they believe Daniel got in a car accident and sustained a head injury. But Daniel Robinson's father feels that there is more to the story than the police believe. He later hired a private investigator named Jeff McGrath, who went through the vehicle's so-called black box and found things that he said concerned him.
Damage didn't match with the terrain and where it was laying.
Where's my son?
Daniel's father, David, brought in private investigator Jeff McGrath to piece together what led up to the crash.
After the airbags came out, somebody turned that ignition over at least 46 more times. That's not normal. We usually see one or two because it adds one when we download the box. We have to put power to it.
The ACM also records the vehicle's speed.
There's an additional 11 miles on the car since the airbags deployed. So that tells me the car was driven around after it crashed.
Buckeye police are now analyzing data from the Jeep's entertainment system connected to Daniel's cell phone. McGrath says the system shows the Jeep was involved in a collision around 1 p.m. on June 23rd, nearly 4 hours after he was last seen.
We have a gap in time, and we don't know where he went, what was going on at that point. By looking at the photographs, it doesn't match the area. Sometimes those could be a staged event, and this looked like a staged event to me.
McGrath said that he reached out to the Buckeye Police Department with his findings, but that he's been met with difficulty. I have relayed all my information to them. I don't think they want to hear what I have to say, said McGrath. The Buckeye Police Department said that leading up to the discovery of Daniel's car, they conducted 4 ground searches and 2 aerial searches. And after finding the vehicle, they conducted 2 more ground searches on July 21st. Police later found a human skull near the crash on July 31st, but confirmed that it did not belong to Daniel Robinson. Altogether, the desert search for Daniel Robinson has led to the discovery of 5 or 6 other human remains that belong to other missing persons. It has been over 2 months with no leads or evidence towards Daniel's disappearance, as well as failed tracking of his vehicle and phone GPS location that could determine exactly what happened that day. Daniel Robinson's father, David Robinson, said on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, a website dedicated to finding Daniel. Daniel Robinson's family has offered a $10,000 reward for information that helps find Daniel, and they also set up a GoFundMe to assist with search costs, which I will leave a link to in the description down below. And anyone with information relating to Daniel Robinson is urged to call the Buckeye Police Department at 623-349-6400. And yeah, there is a lot going on in this missing persons case, and I really hope that Daniel Robinson is found relatively soon. I can't imagine how his family feels, especially after they have just seen this huge search for Gabby Petito in the last few weeks, and how quickly that was able to be solved when everyone sort of got together and put pressure on the FBI and the police departments to look for her. So they found her. And this is a similar situation that needs to happen for Daniel Robinson. There needs to be more pressure put on the police departments. There needs to be more pressure put on the government to actually put in the work and look for him so that he can be found and that his family can find out where he is. So I hope that this video does do something to help that happen. So like I mentioned earlier, in the description down below is going to be links to the website helpfinddaniel.com and the GoFundMe page that his family set up to help them pay for searching for him. So if you want to donate or if you want to learn more about what's going on, go to those sites, help out if you can. But if at this moment you can't donate anything, spread as much awareness as you can for this case, get more people talking about it so that there's a real search for Daniel and so that he is found sometime soon. But that's all I have to say about this. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It's really appreciated. But yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think about this. So please make sure to leave a comment down below. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. And like always, I will see you next video.